And welcome back to Wandering Through Wayne's World. You know, we talk about different careers and what people do, and there was a TV show called Dirty Jobs, and everybody's job is a little bit different. Well, with me is Kevin Johnson from Johnson Pest Solutions. How you doing,
Yes,
Kevin?
sir. Great. Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, so when we talk about the word pest, we're talking about bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, roaches, termites, I guess, bees, ants. When I moved from New York to here, I learned a very valuable lesson about a thing called a red ant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, didn't know not to walk barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was kind of new for me. But what made you get into this profession? I mean, why would you choose this?
Well, I moved to Florida from Tennessee in 2011.
Okay.
And I didn't have a job. So I realized one of two things. Either I'm going to get into pest control or I'm going to get into heat and air. Those are the two demands. So one day I saw a pest control truck in my neighborhood. I called the phone number and they said, hey, you can come down and fill out an application. And this all started from right there.
So you worked for another company.
Yes.
Learned the ropes, I guess.
Yes.
And then decided, I can do this. I'll go out on my own.
It was a leap. Yes.
It is a leap. Going into your own business. I came from radio.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for a terrestrial radio company, and I jumped out like an idiot and did my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was 20 years ago. So
I was as far as I was going to go.
Okay.
And so for me and my family, I needed to do this.
Okay. So how long are you doing this?
Almost 7 years now.
Okay. So we now know why you got into it, and that's an interesting thing because people have a need. And when you live in Florida, pest control is a big thing.
Year round.
Okay.
South Florida especially.
Right. And you said heating and air conditioning. Air conditioning is a major thing here.
Yes.
And it seems to break down at the worst times. Let's talk about a couple things. Let's talk about, and I don't know if I'm using the right term, ghost ants.
Sure.
Is that what they call them?
Some people call them sugar ants, but the term is ghost ants.
Okay.
Yes. That is one of the easiest ants to take care of, but it's one of the most annoying ants.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it's like an army.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is there something that we do in our homes that bring them to us?
You know what? No. Your home is just there. They have no idea it's a house. They don't realize that. So they're just foraging. And then when they find that little drop of coffee or Coca-Cola or some sort of a sugar substance, there's a food for them. And so once that is established, then they start and they multiply.
So they call their friends and say, hey, we found this. Head over here.
Exactly. It's a pheromone trail.
Okay.
They follow a pheromone trail. It's pretty neat the way insects are developed and how they're created. But yeah, and they're all females. All the females are out there scavenging because the males have to stay and do their reproduction things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that for us. I don't get it, but okay. All right, so all those little ants that we see, they're all the females?
Yes.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so staying on the ant topic, fire ants.
Yes.
Okay, they're a nightmare when you get bit.
Yes, definitely.
Is there anything that we do that brings them to us, or that's also they just end up there?
Well, to be honest with you, big-headed ants have driven the fire ants out, pretty much. Fire ants are still readily there, but they like fields, they like grassy areas. Sometimes you'll see them in a park, but normally they don't invade the home, but they're very annoying and very painful if you come across the colony.
Right.
And you step on that colony, millions of ants are going to come out. And as soon as those come out, they're going to attack your feet or your hands or anything that's down there.
And the colony is noticeable.
Oh, yes, definitely. It's a mound. It's a mound. You'll see a mound. And there's millions of ants in that mound and under the ground.
It's amazing.
And there's always an exit, too. They have a huge pile of sand, dirt, whatever you want to call it, right there. And then you have to look a few feet away, and you'll see another little sand pile. That's another exit for them. Yeah.
We think of them as pests, but they really have their own life.
Sure.
Okay, and they do what they need to do as we do what we need to do.
It's a colony. They all work together.
Okay, what's the hardest pest to get rid of?
Well, one of two. On the ant species, that would be big-headed ants. Big-headed ants are a subterranean ant, and if you start seeing sand piles in your home or in your pavers in your driveway or in the back of your property, you need to address that right away, because what they do is they go underground and they'll come up through your foundation. They'll come up into the bathroom, they'll come up anywhere that there's a crack or crevice, and then once they're in your home, it's a nightmare to get rid of them. German roaches. German roaches.
Okay, what the heck? I come from Brooklyn. I know roaches. What's a German roach?
German roach are the small, thin ones. People call them small, thin ones. They're not the big palmetto bugs.
Okay.
That's an American roach.
Okay.
Yeah, the big palmetto bugs are the American roaches, and they readily fly. You have to be prepared for that. Anyway. So German roaches will live in the kitchen and in the bathrooms, predominantly in the kitchen, because they have to have a food source. They're hard to get rid of because you cannot just spray. You can't just spray the cabinets or the baseboards for them. You have to bait. You have to bait and draw them out. You have to go underneath the kitchen sink area. You have to open up all the drawers, and you have to put a bait down. There's a gel, and you have to put it in their path, in their vicinity. You have to know what you're looking for. Unfortunately, you're looking for feces, little poop, little black dots everywhere.
Right.
And when you find that, 9 times out of 10, you can look up and you can see their little antennae working. They're going to be hidden. They have to have surface touching them on all 3 sides of their body.
Interesting.
Yes, they have to back up into a corner, and they feel protected that way. But as they do their little antennae, you can put the bait there. It comes in a syringe, and you squeeze the bait right there, and they'll test that bait with their antennae, and then they'll come out and start feeding.
Okay, but what? So they come out and feed. Does the bait have something in it that goes back to their?
They're not a social insect like ants.
Okay.
No. What happens is they're cannibals. They'll eat each other too. So,
wow.
So if there is a roach that is dead or dying and it has ingested the bait, and then the other roach ingests that roach, then they'll die also.
Okay. Here's a topic that plagued a friend of mine for a long time, and it's called bed bugs.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I in 50-something years never knew any. I mean, I heard of it, but never saw a bed bug.
Oh, you're very fortunate then.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It took probably more than 3 treatments to get rid of the bed.
Yes. I always recommend up to 4 to 6 sometimes, depending on the infestation. You have different levels of bed bugs. 1, meaning, I saw maybe 5 bed bugs. 2 to 5. If you have a level 5, that means you're seeing them in the corners. You're seeing them crawl up the walls.
That's what was happening.
You're
underneath
the box springs.
Yeah, but also on the window ledge, underneath the window ledge.
Sure, yeah. That has gotten way out of control. Sometimes people don't realize it is that bad until they see one, and then when they see the one, they're like, oh wow, and then next thing you know, you find hundreds.
Well, you start to notice them.
Sure.
And I remember she would take her fingernail and break them in half, and that's how she would kill them.
Yeah, and the blood will actually come out. Yes.
It was really. She threw away probably 5 mattresses. You
can do that. Some people don't want to sleep on a mattress after it's been infested with bed bugs. It can be treated, but ideally, if you throw that away, you don't want someone else to pick that mattress up either. Though you want to be able to, put a big red X on it with some spray paint or something, or do some destruction to that mattress, cut it up, or do something to where nobody would ever use it.
What in your years of doing this was the kind of weirdest thing to take care of?
The weirdest thing?
Yeah.
Well, there's been a few different things. Weirdest thing, I wouldn't say it was weird, it was just outrageous.
Okay.
German roaches.
Coming from Brooklyn, we had roaches, and I guess they were German roaches because there were small roaches in Brooklyn. And I remember the family come home, there was 4 of us, my brother and myself, my mom and my dad. And one of us would have the job of turning the key and opening the door.
Mm-hmm.
The other one would have a job flipping on the light, and the other two would then step on the roaches.
Okay.
And that was the process all the time.
Right.
And then when we moved, I remember my dad spraying all the boxes that had stuff in it we moved with before stuff got in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was so...
He didn't want to transport them.
Right. It was horrible because we lived with it because that's what they could afford at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up getting rid of it. And I remember one day when my parents bought a house, I was a kid, and I remember the dog was sleeping on the bed with me, and it also sniffing noises. And I got up, and I walked over to the dog and turned on the light, and there was a water bug, like this big. And I really didn't want to sleep in that room. Now, I realize today, we live in Florida, so if I see a lizard in my house, I'm really not unhappy about it.
Sure,
okay?
Sure.
I'm okay with it. We're getting to the top of our time. If people want to find you, how do they find you? You have a website? You have a phone number?
Yeah, there's. I've got my website,
which is
JohnsonPestSolutions.com.
Okay.
Our phone number is 954-405-5370. Google, Yelp. I'm on Google and Yelp. And of course my truck.
Yeah, and that's how I found you.
Yeah, that's true.
And that, when I tell people how important it is to market and to be out there, being in this industry, we talk about video, but labeling your truck, talking about what you do. If you're just talking about business and marketing, but everybody in South Florida has a reason to be dealing with somebody who does pest control.
Sure. And I don't mind educating. If someone wants to make a phone call and they have just a question about an insect, I'll talk to you over the phone about
Obviously, because I dragged him here. But Kevin, I want to thank you for coming on.
that. No problem. Thank
Everybody,
you so much.
check out Johnson Pest Solutions, and we'll be right back.